What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another exciting folding knife review for you guys. This is the Massdrop Terzuola CTF, which stands for Compact Tactical Folder, and I know that because I'm reading it right off the box. This is a collaborative effort between Massdrop Terzuola and We Knives. That's who's making this knife. So this knife is made in China. At the time of this video, you can still go over and purchase this knife for $150 in the three original configurations, which are either this OD green G10 and S35VN, a tan G10 and S35, or black G10 and S35. For an extra $25, you can get it in carbon fiber and the same blade steel. There are no other blade finishes. They're all exactly like this. The knife has titanium liners and runs on bearings, so very interesting. This is the first time that I have ever held a knife from anything from Terzuola, so really cool. Happy to have this in hand. This knife was provided to me directly by the manufacturer, so I just wanted to disclose that. Rather, it was provided to the pass-around group that I'm involved with, but really happy to be taking a look at it. Let's go ahead and get some measurements on this guy. We'll turn it this way. Overall length is 7.5 inches overall. That, you know, when I first handled this, I was like, I was expecting something a little bit bigger, and I think that's just being, you know, I guess having in mind what I expected from Terzuola knives, because all the specs that I read from actual Terzuolas or you know, the mid-techs and the customs, I guess I'm thinking of the ATCF. Is that 8.25 inches or 9 inches? I know it's a bigger knife, so this was smaller than I was expecting, but either way, really cool. Let's go ahead and get blade length here. Blade length is not quite 3, well, it's 3.25 on the blade length to the scale. But as far as the cutting edge, we're looking at about 3 1/8. So nice size. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here. How about up against the Ontario Rat Model 1? Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches, so you can see there it's kind of dwarfed by the Rat 1. PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, the Spyderco Delica. Spyderco Delica coming in at 7 inches. Much more a Delica sized folding knife, a little bit bigger. The knife can actually fit completely. I mean, I've got medium large size hands, so I'm placing my hands where they're supposed to fit. The knife does fit comfortably in my hands there. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Close it up here and give you guys an example of the action. It's a small knife, but it's very smooth. That example was not very good. It didn't do it a whole lot of justice. You'll have to imagine with a super lightweight folding knife. What is going on here with my units? Just be one moment, folks. There we go. Anyways, nope. 0 out. Anyways, let's go ahead and weigh this guy. Overall weight, just under 3 ounces, 2.96. 2.96. So my scale's saying it's right about 3 ounces. That's kind of what I expected. I'm glad that they didn't go, you know, too much lighter than this, because this is a small knife that does feel solid, and I like that. I don't like knives that don't feel solid. An example of what I'm talking about is the Benchmade Bug Out. I hate how cheap that feels and flimsy, and I know a lot of you really like it, but I don't like that. So even if I'm going to go with a small knife, I don't mind 3 ounces because it just feels, I don't know, it feels more solid. Let's go over the anatomy of the knife. We've got a nice, very Terzuola-esque drop point blade with that fuller and thumb disc. Nice satin finish. The blade is finished very well. Nice and sharp. Feels very thin behind the edge. I imagine it'll be an excellent slicer. The knife runs on a flipper and or thumb disc deployer, which is great. I can just barely get my fingers in behind there and do that reverse flick, but I will admit it's difficult. You know, you can do it, definitely. The fuller is, I guess it's something you could use for like a pinch open. I think it's probably more decorative than anything, and really the flipper tab does an excellent job of flipping this knife, despite it being a small, you know, a smaller knife with a fairly thin blade stock. It does flip readily and dependably, so that's pretty cool. And definitely the thumb disc deploys it readily as well. There's plenty of room to get your thumb in there and underneath that disc head. You can see right there, and it works just fine. So really cool. Nice little laser engraving of the I don't know if that's Massdrop or if that's Terzuola or if that's just what they're using for the ATCF. Honestly, I didn't do any research on that engraving there, but it looks nice and it's not too crazy. I don't really like that they show that it says Massdrop on the blade, but I don't know. It's not really bothering anything, so no big deal. I think S35VN is a great choice for this, especially at the price point, $150. I love S35VN. If you watched my my recent top 5 favorite blade steels video, that's my number 2. At $150, I'm happy to pay for S35VN. My choice would have been the black scales, but I don't have a problem with the OD green. I like that there's a little tiny bit of actual texturing right here. I don't know if you can hear my thumb scraping against that texturing. These are smooth out here, but there's a little bit of texturing, which adds, for the most minimal traction. You know, it's there, but it's not doing a whole lot. The pivot hardware and the handle screws are all bronzed along with the pocket clip, and they've got kind of a stonewashed finish, so that looks really nice. I really like that. There's plenty of room in the cutout to engage the liner lock, so that's nice. The knife came locking up at about 40-50%, something like that, and the blade did come centered, so that's great. No blade play up, down, left, or right. There's some jimping up here on the back of the blade. You can see the liners or the bronze liners down the spine. I will say right here on the outside of the G10, it's, I don't want to call it sharp, you know, but I can feel it. It's not rounded off right there. There's a G10 backspacer, which looks okay. I imagine it'd look a little bit better to me on the black one, but you know, given how the liner, I don't know. This could have been an opportunity for them to add a steel or titanium backspacer or done something different. Some people are going to agree, some people aren't, and that probably would have increased the price, so maybe people wouldn't have liked that. I just like metal backspacers. I don't like G10 or carbon fiber backspacers, so that's just me. The pocket clip is nice and simple. You're going to have about this much of the knife sticking up out of your pocket. Not bad. Not a problem. It does carry well. It's easy to pull from your pocket and flip. So, you know, I have no issues there. Back side of the knife mirrors the front. Really all the way around, this is a very nice, simple looking knife. And that's what I'm going to accentuate in this review is I like how just simple this knife is. It's not crazy. Excuse my phone there. I'm receiving a text message. It's not crazy. There's not a lot going on, and I like that. You know, on some knives I'm okay with the busy nature, and on some knives I'm not. And some knives kind of like blur the lines. They're not really sure. You know, the knife is not really sure what it's doing. And on this knife, it knows exactly what it's doing. It's keeping things simple, and I like that. I really like that in Terzuola's stuff, and so it's nice to see that in this knife. I gotta admit, I would like to have seen a bigger version of this from Massdrop. If this were 8 1/4, I think it would have been awesome. Now, a lot of you guys really like knives of, you know, this size, the 7.5 inch mark. I think that's about the same size as the Para 3. And for a lot of you, this knife is going to be perfect. It's about the same size as the Lion Steel TRE, which I'm actually going to go grab real quick. Okay, I'm back and I've got it. About the same size as the Lion Steel TRE. And this is my only smaller, or, you know, I call it a smaller EDC size knife. The Terzuola is actually a little bit longer. It looks to be about 1/4 inch longer than the TRE. So for me, you know, this wouldn't be a knife that I would grab. Actually, it's about 1/2 inch. This may not be as good a size comparison as I had thought. It's actually a little bit bigger. But for me, I either want something the size of this, you know, for a super, for me, for a super lightweight or compact carry, maybe if I'm going to church or some formal event, or I want something more the size of the paramilitary 2, you know, or the Shaman, which is what I normally carry. If this knife were the same length as the Shaman and maybe just a little bit bigger dimensionally, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But like I was saying, a lot of people really, really like this size, and I can't deny that it is an excellent EDC size. And at this weight, and with this flipping action and the action with the thumb studs, it's so easy to manipulate. This is an excellent knife, excellent. And for the money, yeah, 100%. And you can pay $175 and get it in carbon fiber. I think at $175 with the carbon fiber, it makes for an excellent gentleman's folder. Very simplistic look, excellent fit and finish. Made by We. I mean, what's not to like? Seriously, the only thing that I can complain about on this knife is that I want to see it a little bit bigger, and maybe I would have liked a metal backspacer. One other thing, the choil right here, it's not big enough for me to trust putting my finger up against the blade. It just makes me want more of a forward choil, or I'm sorry, I'm not actually, I had a commenter point this out. I'm not actually sure if that's the correct terminology. I think it's just choil. I have this bad habit of calling this area of a knife back here the primary choil, and this habit the forward choil. And I honestly don't know if that's correct. It might just be choil or no choil, Anyways, that area up here is not quite a choil that you can put your finger in. I would have liked to either see more blade, or really I would have just preferred that was extended or elongated and that we had an actual choil up there so I could put my finger behind it. But sacrificing that another 1/4 inch of blade to make that happen, I don't know if that's really completely necessary. It's honestly fine in this form. It's worth the money that you would pay for it. The fit and finish is great. I love the look. I love that it's a Terzuola. I think this is awesome. I think you guys should go check that out. I think it's worth every penny. That's about all I have to say about this knife. This is a great knife, and it's designed very, very well. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there is definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.